Hey, Les, the clicker's not working. Oh, now it is. Okay. You're going to have to do it for the whole show. Now you can go.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Kim Diana. Some of you may know me from the way back times as Tate and Simon's mama. And my pronouns are she and they. And I offer my pronouns to ensure that people know from the very start that we are a welcoming community, and invite you to bring your whole identity to this space. Today is the Lenten experience in Christian churches, and that always reminds me of part of my heritage from Ireland. My dad's entire family was from Ireland, emigrated from Ireland, and I got this sweater when I visited the summer before last. The church, the town and the church where my grandfather was born, and I remember a lot of the times of the Lenten experience as being kind of serious in the Catholic faith, but also I remember the contemplative acts, the time where the people who were really thinking about Lent were deep in contemplation and using the time to think about how to be more connected with Spirit. And so I do that too as part of my heritage that comes from the depths of all the beliefs that I have been experienced in my time, and the faith that I live out today. Amherst is an emerging congregation, creating a warm and welcoming place for all ages and stages of life, to explore that which is of ultimate importance to us, individually and collectively. In this gathering, you will find deeply curious and caring people. We may not all agree on what to call that is what of ultimate importance, but we make it our religious practice to create the conditions where that exploration can take place. And we are so glad that each of you is here today, including you online. If you're a newcomer, we hope that, as I started to in 2010, you'll keep coming back and make us your spiritual home. For those who've already made Amherst your home, we hope you will continue to challenge yourself to grow and discover opportunities to learn and serve. For those gathered in the chapel, here's the usual requirement. Please turn off your phone. If possible, turn it all the way off. If not, at least have it on airplane mode. We need to free up bandwidth for the live stream and the people who are going to watch it later, which is based on the live stream, because our Wi-Fi is a little bit wobbly. If you need extra hearing support, we have assisted hearing devices at the usher station in the back of the chapel. Feel free to borrow one for the service. Everything about our time today has been carefully crafted to create a cohesive experience. So let yourself relax. Take a breath and be fully present to what unfolds around and within you. You are among friends. We welcome one and all to our Unitarian Universalist religious community. We welcome you, whoever you are, whatever tradition, gender, race, sexual orientation, social status, age, or any other identity marker you represent. In our presence, may you move in ways of truthfulness, service, and holiness. And through all your days and nights in presence, may you experience love.
Let me add my words of welcome to Kim Diana's. I'm Reverend Michelle Buhite, the minister of this congregation. My pronouns, which I offer to create a truly inclusive and brave space for all to live into the fullness of their identities, are she and her. You have found your way to Amherst, whether it is live and in person, via the live stream, or later on YouTube. You have made your way here, braving, if not physical obstacles, perhaps mental or spiritual ones. We are gathered to make a connection, to hold one another in our gaze, to sit quietly with our grief, or sing joyously as an act of defiance toward a world that would seem to want to sap us of our joy. Today's service is the first in a series focused on finding our center. Maybe we have a vague notion of what that phrase means, finding our center. It implies that we have a center and that we might be disconnected from it. We begin this week by letting in. So in the receptive spirit of letting in, I offer these opening words from Monica Jacobson Tennyson, entitled The Heart of Our Faith. What is it that calls you here, that calls you onward, that calls you inward, that calls you homeward? What is it that gives you the power to make that change, to ask that question, to take that journey? What is it that says you have done well, that asks you to learn more, that brings you to stillness, that holds you up in hard times? It is relationship, the beating heart of our faith. It begins when we share this hour, our truths, this air, our hearts. Come, let us worship together. And we'll begin that worship with singing, breathing together, making music together, reminding ourselves and one another of the love that will never break faith with us. Our gathering music can be found in the teal hymnal. It's number 1059, May Your Life Be As a Song. In a moment, I'm going to have you rise and bow to your spirit. First, I'm going to have Rick play the song through once, and then we're going to sing it through 3 times. That first time tentatively, that second time, I think I've heard this before, and the third time with great gusto and knowing exactly what you're doing. So Rick, if you'll play it. Next slide. Next side. May your life be as a song, resounding with the dawn, to sing with the light and softly serenade the stars, ever dancing circle in the night. Little more. May your life be as a song, resounding with the dawn, to sing with the light and gently serenade the stars, ever dancing circle. Now rise and sing. May your life be as a song, resounding with the dawn, to sing with the light and softly serenade the stars, ever dancing circles in the night. Thank you. You may be seated. And I apologize for making that slide from memory and not from watching what the words really are.
When we gather, we employ the elements of water and fire to create the sacred space where we can be fully present. We begin with an acknowledgement that our church is built on holy ground, land that was nurtured and cultivated by those who occupied it before us. Sam? We thus offer this libation as our giveaway, as we honor the struggle of all people seeking justice and peace. We seek the courage and wisdom to heal the wounds of the past and build a better future story with all our neighbors and fellow creatures together. It is also our custom when we gather to light a chalice. The chalice is a cup or vessel that symbolizes the gathered community and is the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. Please join me in our chalice lighting words.
Next slide.
We gather in this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together.
In theater, this is called presetting. There we go. Each week, we bring our whole selves into this space, this sacred time. We bring our joys, our concerns, our sorrows. And we acknowledge that this space is made sacred by our presence together, and that we can bear witness to all of those complicated things that we bring. We ritualize that, we give it a deeper meaning, a more visible meaning, as we come forward to place a stone or a shell on the table labyrinth. I invite you to come forward in community, knowing that that which you carry, even though it is left unspoken, can be held in this time and this place by these people. Come forward as you will. I place a final stone in recognition of the joys, concerns, and sorrows of those who are joining us online. Know that you are held in this community. Let's just take a moment for a couple of breaths. Feeling what it feels like to be held in this container of love and trust. There is so much in the world to break our hearts. And at this time, it is even more important that we keep our hearts tender, that we not build a wall around them. That even when we don't understand, that we are still willing to act from a place of love, a place of compassion and courage. So we hold in our hearts those who are ill, those who are in pain, either in body or spirit, those who are feeling overwhelmed and lost. We hold them not so that we can somehow fix things ourselves, but that we can entrust all of that to a love that will never break faith with us. We might have many words for that love. We may have given up on trying to find words for that love, but when we are in community, it's here. We can feel it, we can trust it. May we find the strength and the peace to carry on. Amen and blessed be. Please sing with me. Spirit of I'd like to invite my little friends up. It's time for the Wonder Box. Oh, I don't have any little friends. I'm very sad. Cue Poppy. Hey, here you are. Come on down. Okay. So, as is my custom, I have the Wonder Box, which always makes me wonder what's in there. Sometimes I don't even know until I open it. And that can be alarming, actually. So what do we think's in here? Phew! It's something very quiet, very soft. It's somebody that you might have met before. There's somebody in the box. Oh, that is so close. That is so good. It's not a puppet, but I will manipulate it like one because I'm a professional. It's Jet Pig! Whoop-a-doo. You have a jet pig at your house? Wow. Sometime you'll have to bring your jet pig, and our jet pigs can play together. How cool. How do you know it's a boy pig? I don't know. Huh.
My jet pig is for the baby, though. It's a baby toy.
Oh, it's a baby toy. Okay, well then that's okay. Then that baby toy should stay home. So, I have so many things, all the things. So I also have something pretty special because Jet Pig's name comes from a smush up of some important words that are all about being Unitarian Universalists. And those special words are, click the next slide. So JETPIG stands for Justice, Equity, Transformation, big words, Pluralism, what? Interdependence, and generosity. Thank you, Miss Katie.
All the letters to spell JETPIG.
Yes. They're just not in order. But there's a special word that's in between all those things. You see that? It's love. Because love is at the center. We can have all of these beautiful values, but what JETPIG really reminds us is that it has to be centered in love. Yes?
Also, sometimes hot color is pink and JETPIG is pink.
Yes. I would repeat that, but I got lost. So,
Hot's color.
hot. I thought you said hawks, and so then I was very confused. Heart's colors.
Red and pink
And this is sort of a peachy pink, isn't it? So I have a way for us to do this. So JETPIG, JETPIG, 6 words, right? So we don't have 6 of us sitting down here, but would the 4 of you be willing to help me out for a second? Okay, it's going to take standing up. Okay. Ready? Come help, Poppy. So get in a circle with me. You can be a circle with me. We're a funny little circle, right? Okay, so now we're not going to hold hands. So now I would like you to take, I'm just going to put your hands on your head. There we go. Just because it's fun. So I would like you to turn around and take 2 big steps away from the circle. 1 and 2. This is live theater, folks. Oh, you can take your hands down now, sweetie pie. You're over there. But wait a minute, and stay there. This is, you did the good thing. So how can we have love at our center if we're not close enough to be together? I don't know. So maybe we should move in closer. We can't have love when we're apart from one another, at least not the special kind that helps us help people, right? Okay, so let's take 2 big steps and get back to the circle. 1 and 2. Excellent. So then, can we put our hands all in? Like it's like some sort of sport game? I also don't know anything about that. So when our hands are together, that's the love, right? And that holds us together. So now let's take 2 steps over that way. You're going to have to walk backwards. Here we go. Take 2 steps. 1, 2.
I walked backward the first time.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
See, you were way ahead of the game. So we're still able to do things together because we have the love, right? You guys are awesome.
Go team!
Go team! Next slide. Let's sing our children to their activities. Thanks, kids. You're my favorites. Here, you want to take JETPIG? Take him with you. I couldn't have scripted that. That was just, it was awesome, and that's why I enjoy them so much. Okay. I chose colors at 9 o'clock last night, so I apologize for all of the bright, shiny colors that you can't really see what it says. So this says something could happen here. At least I think that's what it says. I can't see it either. So way back in the years BC, before COVID, it feels like we did a major transition, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But anyways, in those years, I drove to one of our UU congregations in the Pittsburgh area to take part in a workshop, a worship workshop. Okay, there we go. What? Tablets are fun until they're not. Okay. So this worship workshop was being led by a dynamic worship workshop person named Marcia McPhee. And she taught us to think about worship through the lens of filmmaking. Consider the textures and colors and the way music moves things forward. So, since then, I've experimented with sounds and visuals with, admittedly, varying degrees of success. But the one thing that has stayed with me was her assertion that people should come into our worship spaces and be compelled to affirm something could happen here. We may not always have texture and pageantry, but I do believe that if I can create the conditions and then stay out of the way, that something transformative can happen here. Hearts and lives can be touched. Broken hearts can be comforted, and the lost can find their way home to love. So we're going to take just a moment of quiet as we breathe in the energy of the room, all of the beautiful souls present here and online. And now turn to your neighbors and murmur, something could happen here. Agree with each other, affirm for one another. Now bring it down to a whisper. Keep saying it, but with a whisper. Something could happen here. Something could happen here. Something could happen here. Wow. Something just happened here. And we're just getting started. So the next thing we're going to do is sing, because when in doubt, we should always sing. That is always what the answer should be. So this is a song that may not be familiar to you, and it's very tricky because it does not start on the root of the chord. Don't worry if those words sound like something from another planet. You'll know because I will fumble. So Rick is going to play it through twice, and then we're going to sing it twice. And my friend Amy will come up so that it's not just me helping sing. Isn't that true, Amy? Joy radiates. Joy. I love surprise parties. So I think we need another slide. There we go. So just listen to it 2 times, and then we're going to sing it 2 times. And then, oopsie daisy. Back one, thank you. And then later in the service, we're going to do some more 2-timesies. So it will always be repeatable. So listen twice, sing twice. Open my heart to finding our center. Why, when, with whom? So without giving it a whole lot of thought, raise your hands if you're feeling rather centered. And now raise your hand if you would feel awkward trying to describe what feeling centered even means. Yeah. Oh, wait. I'm here to say things about that, so I'll put my hands down. I find it incredibly useful to figure out how to describe something that one has actually experienced, than to start with a definition or expectation and then try to meet it. Together, we have invited centeredness into this space. Now, for some, centeredness has a physical feeling, maybe in the center of your body, between your heart and your belly button. Okay, imagine that space. If you need to, you can find it. That middle ground is called the solar plexus. It is a nerve center. We feel things there, right? I mean, I'm not a whole bunch sciencey, but we feel things because of nerves. I know that when I stub my toe or accidentally cut the bread in a way that is not useful, meaning me. When we feel anxious, that center place, that nerve center, can feel maybe fluttery. That's how I experience anxiety, is a fluttery feeling. Conversely, when we feel calm, we might notice that our breath is located there. Oh, I've been breathing, and I didn't even know it. It's so calm. We're not gasping through the day with shallow breaths. And sometimes, I will boast, I can manage to get 3 whole breaths in, and then the anxiety jumps in. But I get three whole breaths, 3 seconds worth of calm, of centeredness, before my brain kicks in and has some things to tell me that are not useful, usually. Mostly it's, am I doing this right? I don't think I'm doing this right. It feels funny to breathe this way. I'm glad I'm the only one in the room with that. Thank you. So maybe that's the whole point of a centeredness practice, because it is hard to turn off what I like to call the inner critic. Actually, I call it the committee, because it's more than one opinion being voiced in there, and to just be present. I'm going to trust you to keep breathing, whether it is a centered breath or a nervous hiccup, as we answer some of these important first questions of why, when, and with whom. You'll notice I did not include what. I don't want to make you any more anxious than you might already be about doing this right. So why find our center? Well, there is plenty happening in the world around us that has the capacity to knock us out of our center. I've discovered that certain images and the sound of certain voices can bring me instantly to rage or despair. Oh, I'm not the only one in the room again. Thank you. But that is definitely not being centered, right? If just the sound of a voice can send me to the moon, that's really not centered. So having a practice that brings me back into myself, because when you're not centered, it can feel like an out-of-body experience. So it brings me back to myself. Having a practice that brings me back to myself is really useful. If you've ever experienced intense emotions of fear, anxiety, despair, rage, you've probably had an out-of-body experience, like I have. Because that's, personally, the only way I can describe it. Completely off-kilter, completely out of center, out of my body. Now, I suppose I could entreat a power outside myself to fix me, to reestablish connection, but my experience in that regard has been variegated, and ultimately pulls me further out of myself. A centering practice keeps me present and accountable. Parker Palmer said, We all have an inner teacher whose guidance is more reliable than anything we can get from a doctrine, ideology, collective belief system, institution, or leader. I'm just going to read just the first most important chunk. We all have an inner teacher. End of sentence. All right, when to find our center? Well, whenever we need it, right? I find that having a variety of prompts is useful. I can't relax and close my eyes if I'm driving, or at least I shouldn't. I can, but I should not. But I can turn off the radio. I can relax my shoulders and sigh audibly. Okay, I see your shoulders around the room, so go ahead and just pull them down. You're welcome. Now, we're going to sigh audibly. So you take a breath in, and it's not a shriek, it's a sigh, okay? Here we go. Breathe in. All right, now put your shoulders up to your ears. Oh, you all breathed in. That was so cute. I didn't tell you to. Don't hold your breath. Okay. Now, we're going to take a breath in, lower the shoulders, and we're going to sigh out the breath. You now have a centering practice. And if you accidentally breathed from your center, bonus. I find it's useful to have multiple, and just breathe normally now, in case you're waiting for more instructions. Breathing is good. That's a good place to start. I thoroughly recommend breathing. And sometimes we need something a bit more active or creative, maybe walking in nature, journaling, some sort of creative arts, screaming into pillows. There's a lot of creativity in this room, and I'm sure you already have centering practices that you didn't even know were centering practices. And some days, frankly, require a full menu of centering practices. So remember that the when of a centering practice also has to fit your life. If you only have a few minutes, then a few breaths may be all you can spare. We so often set ourselves up for failure by creating elaborate roadmaps to serenity. And maybe we could help each other stop that. Now the question, finding our center, with whom? I think there's only one rule for this, and it is with people whom you trust. You can center yourself alone, with a friend, out in nature, at your desk, in a room that looks remarkably like this one. You can even find your center among those who are not particularly friendly. In fact, it's extra important to be able to respond from a place of centeredness. And the more you practice, the better you get at it. The less time it will take you to find and respond from your center. And so, among friends, relaxed and centered, we're going to sing our open heart meditation again. But we're going to add a layer. So Rick will play it twice. We'll sing it together twice. And then we're going to sing it as a round twice. And Amy will take part 1, folks, over there. And I will take part 2, folks, over there. And Rick will help us all end at the same time. So he'll play it through twice. All together. Open my heart to that I seek. Let me be part of the love you give. Open my heart to that I seek. Let me be part of the love you give. Part 1. Open my heart. Lovely. Thank you. So now that we've answered a few questions about finding our center, I think it might be time for a warning to be discerning about just what we let in. Here I am. I whistle as I work. You know, I love to chat with people about their beliefs. I sure hope I run into some folks to talk to today. Why, look. Here's someone now. Good morning. What an interesting bag you have, and what just exactly are you doing?
I've been very busy. There are so many interesting things to catch, and I don't want to miss a single one.
What is it you're trying to catch? Butterflies? It's a little early for them.
They're not something you can see? I'm catching beliefs. There are so many interesting ones from religions all over the world, and I don't want to miss any of them. I want them all.
But doesn't that get confusing? I mean, with so many interesting beliefs, surely some of them contradict each other.
Well, that doesn't matter to me. I collect them all. I believe in everything. I'm so sorry. I really can't talk right now. I have so many beliefs I have to touch.
Well, that was a rather unusual conversation. That person has a very open mind. I would find it very confusing to try to hold on to all of those different beliefs in one bag. Oh, someone else with a bag. What a coincidence. I wonder what they're doing. Wow, hello. Are you having some troubles? You seem to be batting something away.
I've been trying to outrun these belief bugs all morning, pestering me. I have all my beliefs nicely secured in this bag. I don't need any more. I'm perfectly happy with the beliefs I've been carrying around for decades.
Wow, decades. How do you know there's not something out there that might be a better fit? Haven't you grown and changed in all those years? Shouldn't your beliefs grow and change too?
That's just crazy talk. Everyone knows you get a belief and you hang on to it the rest of your life. If beliefs can change, then how can they be real beliefs? What if I find something that I believe more than the ones I've been carrying around? That would be terrible!
Well, those two people couldn't be any more different from each other. One is willing to believe anything that comes along, and the other one is afraid to investigate other possibilities. I wonder if there's a happy medium.
Why, hello. What a nice surprise to see somebody else out walking on such a beautiful day. Oh, wait. I think that little beauty's going to go nicely with my collection.
What are you collecting?
I'm collecting beliefs, but I'm very particular. I only choose beliefs that are based in love and include acts of justice and compassion.
Beliefs based in love that include acts of justice and compassion? That reminds me of the mission of a church I know of. Is your bag very full?
You know, it's not as full as you think. Sometimes I pick up a belief just because it's got pretty petals or a sweet smell. But when I get it home, it just doesn't fit. You know, I have quite a compost pile of beliefs I almost kept. It's a challenge to decide. Occasionally I have to compost an old belief because I've found another one that fits much more with the person that I'm becoming.
And you're not threatened by that? Having outgrown a belief?
No! I mean, I don't have the same taste in shoes that I did a decade ago. Why wouldn't my beliefs also change? I'm growing and changing all the time. I just try to find the balance between bringing in the new and letting go of beliefs that just don't fit anymore. It's a challenge, but I have a lot of support from my church, and I've learned to trust my deep knowing. As long as it's something based in love, compassion, and justice, I'm willing to try it. If it doesn't fit, I let it go. It's a system that works for me.
Wow, that's great. Thank you so much for talking with me. I think I need to go home and blow the dust off my own beliefs bag and see if everything still fits. Bye. What an interesting morning I've had. I hope you have as well. Our budding theatrical group. I just made that up. Want to have one? Have you blown the dust off of your beliefs bag to see what still fits? Not only are you allowed to periodically check in with your current belief status, it is a spiritual responsibility to do so. We outgrow beliefs, or at least we should. Even the Apostle Paul realized that when he was a child, he thought and he spoke as a child, but when he became an adult, he put aside childish things. It's the last verse of 1 Corinthians 13. Look it up. Beliefs and practices should help us to live from our place of greatest authenticity, our center. And as we have noted earlier in the quote from Parker Palmer, we all have an inner teacher whose guidance is more reliable than anything we can get from a doctrine, ideology, collective belief system, institution, or leader. As Unitarian Universalists, we believe that it is up to each of us to do the work of locating that inner teacher and listening to its guidance. As we learned from the children, we can have all of Jet Pig's qualities of justice, equity, and the rest. But if it's not centered, it's like a gong or a clanging cymbal. That's another 1 Corinthians 13 reference. The work is hard, and it is the most important thing that you will do in your lifetime. Maybe you're thinking, no, Michelle, all these other things are so, I need to leave a legacy, I need to do these things, I need to change the world. Yes, and you need to start inside, or you won't have anything to give. So, making that inner journey, dusting off the belief bag, and seeing where you are now, and then doing something about it, it really is. It's the starting place from which all of those other things that we do and beliefs that we have, where they all come from, where they're all rooted and nourished. Our centeredness is what gives us the capacity to do justice and compassion in a way that lifts up the worth and dignity of those we serve. Finding our center requires letting in. What you let in, the speed or lack thereof, all of it belongs to you. It is your work. It is your gift. If you try to put off your work, I think you'll find that it is persistent, knocking ceaselessly at the door of your deepest self until you respond. Are you annoyed with that yet? Imagine decades. Because that's how it was with me and my call to ministry. I first heard the call to ministry when I was 8 years old, but I was in a faith tradition that did not believe that women should speak or be ordained. So I spent the next 37 years doing ministry in other ways, helping others find their voices, helping myself find my voice through music and theater. But there was that persistent knocking that kept me unsettled and listening hard for direction. When I finally broke down and went to seminary, the knocking quieted. Oh, thank goodness. After I graduated and was ordained in 2012, I enjoyed 10 years of relative peace. And then I let in the tiniest flicker of light by continuing my education in spiritual direction with Jungian-informed dream work. Now here's the funny thing about light. If I thrust a candle into a room and command it not to show me anything over on that right side of the room, well, that's just ridiculous. The light shines on all of it. And this light happened to shine on the tiny little box in the tiny corner where I had stuffed the fullness of my experience of spiritual trauma. Spiritual trauma can make it difficult for us to let things in, especially if those things are connected to the trauma. Now, if the word trauma sounds too dramatic, maybe spiritual conditioning? Okay, so here's a tiny example. This is not a traumatic example, but a spiritual conditioning example. When I was a teenager, I brought home from the library a book on yoga. My folks about fainted. Didn't I know that yoga was the way to inadvertently allow demons into my body? So nearly 50 years later, I have never gone to a yoga class. Do I believe that demons will enter my body? I do not. And yet there is a barrier to my letting in a spiritual and physical practice that might benefit me. Trauma or conditioning is not rational. There's no logicking someone out of their conditioned response. So I tell you this story as the teeniest, tiniest example of what for me is an entire topography of spiritual trauma and the decades of work I've been doing to minimize my knee-jerk or allergic reaction. It is also why healing spiritual trauma is a vital part of my work as a spiritual director, a dream worker, and minister, because it's personal. So when I ask you to consider finding your center by letting in a spiritual idea or practice, I understand that it can be incredibly difficult. I'm still figuring out my own path across the spiritual trauma topography. I know that the Christianity that I encountered as a young adult was a toxic form. I know in my head and in my heart that there is a Christianity that we just haven't tried yet. But I'm not ready to let it in. I'm doing the work of shining the light and trying to unravel a really snarly mess. So why do I tell you this? I tell you this partly to remind you that it is okay if it does take decades to sort out your spiritual broom closet. I'm not a guru who has it all together. In the 1838 Harvard Divinity School address, transcendentalist and Unitarian minister Ralph Waldo Emerson noted, "The true preacher can be known by this, that he deals out to the people of his life passed through the fire of thought." We will forgive Waldo his use of masculine pronouns as he described true preachers. It would be a couple of decades before the women were fully ordained in Unitarian and Universalist settings. I bring up this quote because it is exactly in the spirit of dealing out a part of my life to you, life passed through the fire of thought. So hear this. Letting in is optional. You get to decide what to let in and when, or possibly if to let in, or to permanently close a door. You are the boss of your spiritual life. I do not believe that there is a cosmic parent watching from a distant throne just waiting for you to mess up. Nope, I do not believe that. And if that's part of your spiritual topography, we can work together on letting that broken story go. I urge you to undertake the task of finding your center by choosing the path of joy. You don't have to tackle all the hard stuff up front. In fact, the more centered you are, the more tools you will have to take on the hard stuff maybe a little later. So it's in your best interest to start with joy. So where to start? Start with love. Center yourself in love, the great love that will never break faith with us. When you're ready, connect that love to actions and ways of being that include justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity. You know, jet pig. Keep love at the center, and you will remain centered. Examine your beliefs, blow the dust off of them, Decide what stays and what goes. Keep the love that holds and enfolds each of us. Now relax your shoulders. Take a few breaths. Because something happened here today. Our song and response can be found in the gray hymnal. It's number 108, My Life Flows On in Endless Song. I invite you to rise in body or spirit as we breathe and raise our voices together.
Making time for an offering of gifts is an act of faith, an opportunity for us to live into the core values of Unitarian Universalism. One of them is generosity. Our generosity connects us to one another in relationships of interdependence and mutuality. Because you know what? We believe that we pick fruit from trees we did not plant, we drink water from wells we did not dig, and this is as it should be, as long as we dig and plant for those who will come after us. The offering will now be gratefully received.
Who wants to help collect? Charlie? We begin our service with the lighting of our chalice, and now we extinguish our chalice, not to quench the flame, but to return it to individual hearts, strengthened by this time spent together so that we can share our light with the world. Please join your voices with mine. Slide. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community,
or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. As our service draws to an end, thank you, Suzanne. As our service draws to an end, our service to the world is ready to begin. You'll find many opportunities for growth and service in your order of service and on our website. All are invited to stay for coffee and conversation in the Emerson room through those double doors, either of the double doors, in the back of the chapel. Come in through the lobby as well. Parents, please remember to gather up your children and bring them to coffee hour, because there's a family-friendly zone at the end of the Emerson room. Lori and Pam Burns are our most recent members to sign the membership book. They're also the owners of Holistic Balance Studio, housed on the second floor of the Faith Development Wing, and they have a special announcement regarding some activities today. That's you. Actually, I thought you were going to do it. I didn't say I was going to come up.
Oh, gosh, okay, wow. Good morning.
Good morning.
So I'm Lori Burns, and this is Pam Burns. Howdy, howdy. And we are indeed the owners of Holistic Balance Studios, which is located on the second floor in the administrative wing, is that right? Faith Development, it's up there. And today we are pleased to tell you that we are having an open house beginning at 12 o'clock. So you are invited to come and join us and check us out. And we kind of laughed about an open house because, you know, normally at an open house you'd like give tours. Well, we have one room, so you could stand in the middle of the room and turn around. So we're only going to do the open house for an hour. But then at 1 o'clock, we're going to do something that is very important to Pam and I. We're going to do a sacred circle in honor of International Women's Day. So if you have the time to stay, please do.
Thank you. Also, save the date for April 10th. The Network of Religious Communities, a wonderful interfaith community in our region, has an appreciation dinner, and two of our members, Diane Tucker and Pam Kent, have been nominated for their tireless and amazing volunteering here at UU Amherst. Today happens to be the last day to get your reservation and money in, so see Diane Tucker after the service to place your reservation for this great event. Finally, if UU Amherst is starting to feel like home for you, consider becoming a member. See, this person over here, Reverend Michelle, after the service if you'd like to know more. And now, please rise and body your spirit as we sing our closing blessing and remain standing afterwards for the benediction. Twinkle your eyes at one another. Travel on. Slide. We close this service with words from Laurel and Bellamy. If here you have found freedom, take it with you into the world. If you have found comfort, go and share it with others. If you have dreamed dreams, help one another that they may come true. And if you have known love, give some back to a bruised and hurting world.
Go in peace. Make a difference, y'all.